is the Vintage RPG Podcast, your source for the best in classic and contemporary RPGs. With your hosts, Hambone and Stu.
Welcome to this RPG Podcast, coming at you again from the clubhouse hidden somewhere in the swamps of New Jersey. I'm John Hambone McGuire, and with me, as always, is the founder and publisher of Unwinnable. The only thing he keeps top secret is the roles behind his DM screen, Stu Horvath.
I like open rolling. I think that open rolling is more fun sometimes, but I also like keeping secrets.
Yeah, it's the best of both worlds. Like, I also think that like a lot of DM screens have become very cumbersome in a way, and when you have like only a finite amount at the table, you know, and you have multiple players, like, yes, you're the person running the game, but you also kind of feel like you're kind of taking up too much space, and it, you know, and it kind of is a power imbalance. So I've kind of moved away from using DM screens. However, when I find a really good one, it's like, all right, I'll at least like keep it next to me to use as a quick reference sheet.
Yeah.
But today I'm pretty psyched because, you know, normally you bring the topics to the table and then I just, you know, react and go, whoa. But this weekend, I kind of had a weird, like, serendipitous kind of thing go on where I actually got to play in two different games with two different groups and two, like, just things that I probably normally wouldn't have gotten to play before. So I want to talk about them today. The first is going to be the G.I. Joe role-playing game Beginner's Box, the boot camp, because I'm 45 years old. I grew up deeply into G.I. Joe, and I wanted to check this out since I heard about it, but I didn't think I'd ever get around to it. And then the top secret New World Order box from Solarian Games, which is another thing that, you know, one of the things you think you're never going to get around to, you finally do, and you are pleased as punch that you did. Real quick at the end of the show, I'm going to have a quick wee chat with Ron Meister about page 2, so stick around for that before we go home. But now, dude, I had a good time this weekend.
You know, it's interesting. It's interesting that you played the G.I. Joe game just as I have started ill-advisedly purchasing G.I. Joe Ultimates action figures from Super Center.
That's how they get you.
I had the bat as a kid and I loved that toy, and it was on sale at Big Bad Toy Store. So I was just like, man, I'm just going to get this giant old bat. And I got the bat and I was like, man, this thing's so great. And then I was just like, well, I could just get a Major Blood. It's not a big deal. And now I'm dangerously teetering on the edge of an abyss. But all of this to say that I've sort of been like reevaluating G.I. Joe, which I loved as a kid and sort of relegated to the, because it was dumb kid stuff pile. And now I'm sort of trying to figure out, like, maybe there is more to it because I'm, you know, buying dumb toys. So how was the game? Was it G.I. Joey?
I mean, it is spot on G.I. Joey, as if like you're kind of right out of the cartoon. It's made by Renegade Game Studios, you know, partnered up with Hasbro, and all the art, most of the art I'd say is licensed art with like legit, like this is what G.I. Joe looks like. So there's no discrepancies there. Now, I can't speak to the actual core rulebook because I haven't gotten it yet in the mail. But what I can say is this is one of the best beginner boxes I've ever experienced. I mean, just right off the bat, it's a thick box. It's a thick box that comes with how to play the game, which they do such a great job walking you through how to play this game. And that's a big hurdle for a lot of people, right, is learning how to play a new system. The system is called Essence 20. It is similar, I'd say, to the D20 system. However, they kind of take their own riff on it. It comes with a dice set as well, which has a D2, which I really like. And the D2 is one side's G.I. Joe, the other side's Cobra. And the way it works is basically within reason, most things you have to roll a 12 or above. So you're going to roll your D20 and whatever dice you have that is the proficiency on the thing you're rolling for. Right?
Yeah.
Not unlike other things we've played before. But it actually does create what I think is a nice gameplay experience because, you know, you're not worried about so much like the modifier that you have to figure out for each thing that you're going to do individually. It's like, okay, well, if I want to do this, it's D20 plus this dice.
Yeah.
You know, and most things do only like 1 point of damage on your attack. So you don't have to keep track of like how much damage dice you need to roll or this and that. Like, so it actually makes the gameplay a little faster.
1 point of damage?
It's just 1 point of damage.
No wonder nobody died in the cartoon.
Right, I know, but then again, most things just have like 5 hit points from what I've
Uh,
experienced so far. Again, I've only used the box set, which also comes with 2 adventures. It comes with Snake Pit and Operation Cold Iron, and these are parts of larger adventures that, of course, they sell separately, but it's enough to get you started, get your feet wet. You get 7 pre-gen characters with it, so like, and a DM screen, which is pretty awesome. I know I just said, I don't really use DM screens anymore, but as a first time player, I appreciated having the DM screen to kind of have the quick reference for the rules
mm,
and for the things I needed to know how to do on the fly. It's cool to play something that is a licensed property that feels authentic to the source material. I mean,
mm.
obviously, the low hit points, no one dying thing is like one of those things, but it does get dangerous as you go along. And seeing the artwork as is, seeing how the system is kind of built up to give you the opportunity to do the cool things you want to do. Like if you roll a critical on any of the dice that you're rolling, so not even on the D20, if you roll, like, say you have to roll a D20 and a D6 and you roll a 6 on the D6,
Yeah.
then whatever you've just succeeded at doing, as long as you've succeeded, you're doing it with finesse,
Mm.
which, and it's a nice little role playing perk for, especially for people who grew up watching G.I. Joe, to be able to kind of like, dip in there and be like, okay, well, this is what Snake Eyes does. It's silly. And I just, I was playing this. I was like, you know what, man, I want to rewatch the movie. I rewatched the movie, and it's everything is just so silly, right? And I kind of was like, I wonder if this is going to be like a silly RPG or a serious RPG. And it's a serious RPG because they really do focus on the more militaristic aspects of G.I. Joe and playing as a military organization trying to stop Cobra,
Mm.
right? And of course, they don't give you like Duke or Snake Eyes or Roadblock in the box. You get some newer Joes like Firewall, Agent Helix, and then for the classic guys, you get like Steeler, Dusty, and Mutton Junkyard.
Dusty, didn't he turn into a puddle?
I thought he did. Yeah, again, G.I. Joe gets really silly in the cartoons. And again, watching the movie, watching Cobra, and I'm going to spoil like a 40-something-year-old movie for you. Cobra Commander getting turned into like an actual Cobra. Um, and then like, because of Optimus Prime died, they had a retcon like Duke getting killed, and you could actually see in the movie where like they kind of just did, oh god, Duke's gonna pull through voiceover, but the ending is still like Lieutenant Falcon being sad because his half brother's dead. Like,
Yeah.
you know, wow, General Hawk's mouth's moving kind of weird when he says that. It's the thing that they focus on and they choose to focus on in this RPG is cool vehicles. Like
Yeah.
you do get access to some vehicles in the starter kit. Cool vehicles, the tech and the spy aspect of it, and also kind of like the war aspect of it. So again, I can't speak for any of the full-length adventures. I can't speak for the core rule book, but I think that if you're curious about trying it out because you're a mark for nostalgia like I am, I think this is like $30 on Amazon right now. It is more than worth the $30 you're going to spend on it. One thing I will tell you though, keeping it as a more serious thing, they don't have the thing like in the end, like they don't have a mechanic. And again, maybe it's in the core rule book, but it's not in the starter set where like give a PSA at the end.
There should be. My God, what a missed opportunity if it's not in the core rules.
Yeah. So like when we were playing, I was playing with John from Passionary, John who made Gutter Punk RPG as well, which is great. Yeah. So John is running a GI Joe monthly GI Joe game, so I got the thing for it, and I was like, you know what, I wanted to try this. I'm going to play this. In the end, we did a PSA as we were wrapping up our role play session. I think that really
Nice.
it's important that you find a way to tie it together with a PSA. I forget what ours was about, but it was it was topical, it was in the moment, and it's funny. So yeah, man, I recommend that. Um, the other thing is Top Secret New World Order. I ran for our patrons.
Yes.
That was my November game that I was going to run for our patrons, and I'm pleased as punch with it. It runs off of their Lucky 13 system, which was created by James Carpio, and he invented it for the new Top Secret, which is what this is. I have one of the older boxes. I actually, when you say like, oh, I bought it out of the back of some guy's car. Well, Jason Elliott, who is Solarian Games, I ran into him at a con. I've been running into him at cons, a good dude. And I was like, oh man, next time I see you, you bring me one of those top secret boxes. I want to buy it. And so when we met up at ShireCon, he literally selling me this top secret New World Order box out of the back of his car.
There's like a grand tradition of buying RPG products out of the back of the boot of somebody's car, going back to the earliest days. So I'm glad you got to participate in that.
It just felt so right. And also like we were clandestinely meeting in the parking lot. It's like, oh man, if a cop goes by, he's totally thinking I'm buying pot. But no, I'm buying an RPG because I'm an adult with disposable income and I like rolling dice. That's my addiction, everybody. I was psyched to do it, and I was more psyched because when I initially ran into Jason at TotalCon, I got the top secret rapid briefing, which is essentially a quick start guide for the system. And it's 4 pages essentially, just fold over, nice paperweight to it. But it's one of the best. Here's how you play this game kind of supplements I've ever gotten.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually made me psyched to play Top Secret because I don't know a lot of people who played it back in the day. Remember, folks, I didn't come into the hobby till I was 25, so I've only been in this for 20 years. But even when I came in, no one that I knew from the old school, they went and they played Paranoid, they played Call of Cthulhu, they played Marvel superheroes. So I was excited to give this a go, and I thought it was nice, a nice little dovetail into G.I. Joe the next day, or the day before even. But Lucky 13 successes 13 or higher. And what's really cool about this Top Secret is it's a dice pool system. And you have to allocate the dice to different stats.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and you know what? I think that there's something like that's just really, really neat about that because, again, it's not about so much I have a +3 in here, a +2 in here. It's, well, if I want to roll something, I'm going to roll my attribute dice, my tradecraft dice, and a decision dice, right? And you need to get a 13 or better. So you're going to say maybe have and the system runs off of a 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. Does come with a D20, but you're only going to roll that in very, very specific circumstances.
Okay.
So, you may have like a D12 in your nerve, a D6 in your suave, a D10 in your pulse, a D6 in your intellect, D6 in your reflex, whatever it ends up being. The way we did it for the patrons was, and the rule book's easy. It does come with a rule book. The rule book is super easy to navigate, but we rolled our characters. We rolled D100s, and there's like a small chart that says, hey, if you roll 100 down to this number, it's a D12, and so on from there. So there's a really cool system to roll characters in it. And the person running the game is the administrator.
Nice.
Which I love. I love it when it's not just the dungeon master, the game master. I like to say, keep it our secrets. So the administrator is actually pretty cool with it. And once we got rolling on it, you have all the stuff in there that makes spy movies great. You start out with $3,000 in personal funds that you can spend to buy some stuff to go into the field with, the normal stuff your agency provides you. And the agency is actually called ICON.
Huh.
Which I'm going to open the book to remember what the acronym means. The International Covert Operations Network.
Nice.
And so, the whole thing here, the way conceptually this is done is that you can also give yourself impairments, which will give you a condition that you can't get rid of unless a solution arises in game to remove the impairment. Mm-hmm. But by giving yourself a specialized skill and an impairment, it kind of balances out your character, right? Yeah. And tradecraft, for those who may not be familiar, and I'm going to read it right from the book, is the overall term for skills that are learned and practiced within the intelligence community. So it breaks it down to 4 different skills: Hummant, SIGINT, Tech, and Combat, right? So those are the tradecraft dice that you're going to roll in addition to your attributes. And the way that this actually works in the book is it kind of gives you an idea of what falls into each area. And
Mhm.
it's nice because they're like a bit of a broader umbrella for the types of tradecraft that you'd be doing and experiencing in the game. So it was really easy for everyone to pick up. I will tell you that like there are opposed checks that you're going to make in this game, which actually normally like I'm not really thrilled with opposed checks because it doesn't actually seem like they do anything in a
Mhm.
lot of RPGs. They seem almost like just a way to not let the players do something. But like an
Mhm.
opposed check in Top Secret New World Order is awesome because it actually makes the combat make sense. If you're getting into a fist fight with somebody,
Yeah.
or trying to like knock somebody out, it makes when you're trying to sneak around make sense because it does give the person you're trying to sneak around from like the opportunity to interact
Yeah.
instead of just I just sneak past him. Okay, cool. Because they're actively looking for you, trying to make sure that you don't break into the base. We didn't get an interrogation, but I imagine it's going to go the same way.
Yeah.
Uh, and like like little things like that made the game move quickly and kind of give like a more authentic, what I would view as as a person who is like one of his favorite movie series to watch is the friggin' Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies, and like grew up watching James Bond on like regular terrestrial television. Like it feels good in those experiences. I had a lot of fun with it. Think I like the health system too, where
Mhm.
the health system is based off your dice, like as far as your hit points go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so like if you put your one of your bigger dice into one of your attributes, you're gonna run off of that dice for your hit points. So like basically, if you have a D12 there, you're gonna have essentially 50 hit points. But if you put like a D4 there, you've got like 10 hit points.
Okay.
So it actually balances it out. So some people are gonna be physically able to endure more than others. So yeah, I mean the starter sheet is worth picking up as well. Solarian is really great about having stuff up there that you can download for free, so you can try some stuff out with. So the box is really cool. The box is loaded. It's got a 120-page rule book, administrator screen, 4-player mats, which I love because you can put your dice on them, so you have a quick resource just to grab them and go. 20 agent dossiers, 40 markers for hazards, vehicles, and agents. They have 9 vehicle sheets for when you're doing your vehicle interactions. Comes with a dice set, and the module that comes with it we actually played. It's called the White Queen, and
Ooh.
it was typical spy stuff. That I don't want to get into because I want people to pick this up. I want people to enjoy it and learn about it. But let's just say that our patrons were fantastic to play with. They could have died so badly because, as the guns get bigger in the game, it gets a lot more deadly. We'll just say that. And also, shout out to the design of like how the weapons work in the system, because with guns, basically they have a distance thing
Mhm.
where you just roll different dices at different distances. But some of the guns are like, oh, if it's up close, it's just fatal. You just don't worry about it. You're dead.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, they almost died really badly, but they managed to pull it out, and it was comical. But yeah, we had a blast playing it, man. So I would definitely recommend checking it out. There is the box that if you go to, and this is cool, it's topsecretrpg.com, so you can't forget it.
Mm.
The box set's actually, now I'm looking at it now, it's on sale right now for $30.
Hey,
So,
there you go.
and you know what? Shout out to another fellow company um, for giving away the PDF with physical purchase. It says include free PDF download with physical purchase, because it's so like disheartening to me when I got to buy a book and then I got to buy a PDF on top of it.
I agree.
Oh, it's so gross. But yeah, man. And I'm talking about this not just because I'm friendly with the guy who created this and who put a lot of work into this. It's just, it was a lot of fun to play. And for me, who, is a game designer who writes rules but doesn't like to read other people's, admittedly, I had an easy time picking up and learning how to play this. And I think the rule book is very well done. And having the rapid briefing was a great thing for the players to have as well. So there are adventures for Top Secret New World Order. which is pretty cool. So I would say definitely give it a shot. And no way, because I've never played it before, knocking the original Top Secret. But I did have a player who played the original Top Secret a lot and said that this was actually a lot easier to pick up and play. I think that for me is a really great endorsement of the system.
Well, that sounds like a final thought if I've ever heard one.
Here, here. I will say if you want to check it out, if you go to SolarianGames.com, there are some free stuff to check out, including the rapid briefing. There is a free adventure called Sleeper Intercept that you can check out there as well. And yeah, I mean, this is a small company run by some sweet dudes. So I definitely always recommend picking up something and trying it out, because that's what we do. As much as we talk about the old shit on the game, we try to turn you on to some new stuff as well. And I've actually played this. So,
It's true.
you know, and I had a good time doing it. Actually, I'm looking forward to doing it again. I'm going to try out another one of these adventures, and hopefully no one dies this time. Or maybe I hope they do. So before we go home on this, I had a really great chat with Ron Meister from the Page Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo convention. So here it is. All right. As promised at the top of the show, I'm here with Ron Meister. We're here to talk about Page 2, the Philadelphia Area Gaming Expo, which honestly, you've heard me talk about this on the show before. One of the best conventions I've been to this year, and it was the first year of this convention. And if you are already following it on Facebook, if you're like me, you've seen that it has grown exponentially over the course of the year. So here to talk about it a little bit is Ron. Ron, how you doing today?
Thank you for having me on the program.
Hey, no problem. So it was an awesome time this year. And even with the weather being what it was, people were there. People were psyched. I know vendors did great. I know the guests had fun. I know the attendees had fun. So what do you have in store for us this year at Page 2? Because it's a lot.
Well, there are over 500 events and seminars and panels this year, on the schedule, which is a significant uptick from last year. And we have some new events that we've brought to the table for this year. We have a dice trading event on Friday night.
Awesome.
over at the Hilton Garden Inn, where you can bring your dice in and you can trade dice with other dice heads or dice goblins, whatever nickname you prefer, and you can make some trades. We have a Sunday morning board game swap meet that we haven't had in the past, and that's being administered through Board Game Geek, and that's looking like it's going to be good. And of course, our flea market will be back. Our very epic auction will be epic again this year, and we have over 50 guests, including a guy named John Hambone McGuire. So
it's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Yeah.
And I'm having you on today not just because I'm a guest, which is awesome, and I appreciate that. But like, honestly, folks, I had a great time, and you supported charities last year. You brought in a lot of cool vendors who, I hadn't seen around at other conventions, turning people onto some new things as well. This year, the vendor room is a stacked deck because I know I'm there. Brian Shutter, the Neon Lord's there. Independent Publishers Union's there. Frog God's there. Goodman's there. Like everyone that you would normally buy books from is going to be there, which I think is pretty cool. Plus, people selling some stuff that maybe you haven't seen yet that you're going to get turned on to, which I think is a pretty cool balance. So you have brought in a lot more guests, and it's, I think, a diverse roster of guests ranging the full spectrum of the hobby. You've got the TSR folks to keep people happy. You've got a lot of people who are new to the hobby who are making a nice footprint in the hobby. You've also got people who are, personalities of the hobby as well. So who are you most excited to bring into this one that you didn't have last year?
Well, we're going to have Zeb Cook here this year, which I think is great for any guests who got into the game in the 80s or 90s. Obviously, he's the father of second edition AD&D, and as you can see over my shoulder, that's an edition that's near and dear to me.
Yeah, folks, it's a you can't see it. It is a pretty sweet setup. He's got the actual TSR rack behind him, legit.
Yeah, but we also have some other great guests. We like our dealer's room. We curate our guests too. And we've got Bob Watts, who ran Grenadier for many years, and then he ran Heartbreaker Hobbies. Then he went on to Games Workshop and Ralph Partha, for some time. So, I mean, he's kind of the OG of the fantasy miniatures world, and he's going to be there. And I think a lot of people are going to be interested to talk to him. Interestingly, we have the original inspiration and character for Alina the Cleric from the Mentor Basic set, who's going to be coming out and talking about her time in the hobby back in the 70s, which I think's great, and it's garnered a lot of interest.
Well, yeah, I mean, you bring in people who you don't see at other conventions. Like,
Yeah. I mean, we're gonna have Matt Ballant there, who was real big with Palladium games, and he's the guest that you've never heard of, but you've seen all his stuff, like the contemporary weapons guides and the medieval castles guides and medieval weapons guides that Palladium put out in the 80s. So yeah, it's a who's who, and we're very happy to have as many guests as we do. I look at it as if the attendees are going to have a very good guest to attendee ratio. No
yeah,
different than you'd look at when you're looking at schools for your kids. You're looking at that teacher to student ratio.
right.
Guests are very accessible at Page. There's not a green room where anybody can go disappear to. We don't walk around with security guards around them. We just ask everybody to be respectful and of their time and space. And but as you know, last year every guest took the time to talk to anybody who wanted to talk to them. It was a great
Oh yeah, everyone hung
experience.
out. It was great. I had no complaints. I've been telling people from other companies who are asking me, hey, we're thinking about coming down to Page. What do you think? And I'd be like, just do it. Just book your room now. It's great. And also, it's a big convention. Like right now, I think as of I don't know, a couple days ago, maybe, or actually. Actually, last week you had surpassed over 900 pre-registrants, which was huge. So you're going to see a lot of people there, and you might make some new friends, which is awesome. This is going to be a highly recommended event for me, and that's why we brought you on, because I did have a great time last year. If you want to go and get yourself a ticket, we have $15 off badges code that we're going to be giving every episode up until the Monday before the event. It is Vintage RPG. It's a little on the nose, I know, but you won't forget it. Capital V, capital RPG, and that one word, Vintage RPG. $15 off your badges. Ron, thanks so much for coming in and talking about Page today. So this was another amazing episode of the Vintage RPG podcast. Stu, where can the people find you on the internets?
They can find me on vintagerpg.com. I just prepped all of the January posts to go live. They've been written for a little while, and I'm very excited for them to just go out and be on the site and not on Instagram.
Oh my God. I know. Even though because of Blue Sky, I know Meta is scrambling to try to bring back you could actually select to have things in chronological order. But let me tell you, baby, it's too little too late.
Yep.
You can find me across the internet at John McGuire RPG. I'm on Blue Sky, and I actually post almost daily. Look at me. How modern. I'm on Instagram as well, where I do definitely post more. I just want to say thank you very much to everybody who backed the 321 RPG backer kit, which wrapped up on Black Friday, and we're gonna put so much heart into this. We're gonna put so much cool stuff in it. I've actually read the bones of the Joey Royale adventure that's going to be in the rule book. Joey Royale from WHP Fairhaven, and it is amazing. So we got a lot of cool things in the work. Thank you so much again from behalf of myself and Gio, who is the co-creator and co-everything of 321 RPG. We couldn't make these things without you, so thank you. We really greatly appreciate it. Don't forget, the code for Page is Vintage RPG for $15 off your badges, and that's a capital V and a capital RPG. Get $15 off your badges for Page 2 coming this January. If you like the show, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Your reviews really do help other listeners to find us. If you really like the show, why not become a patron? Patreon.com/vintagerepg. You can play a game a month with me at the $5 tier. Obviously, last month I ran Top Secret, so let's see what we're going to run in December. I don't know yet, but it might be something holiday and topical. At the $10 tier, you could play in Stu's West Marches campaign and play in my game with me as well. For as little as $1 a month, though, you get early release episodes at some time on Friday or Saturday, depending on how late in the week that we record them. And we also have a killer Discord community we'd love for you to be a part of. Patreon.com/vintagerepg. So for Stu Horvath, I'm John Hambone McGuire. May the dice always roll in your favor.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, review, and subscribe to the podcast. Every review helps other listeners to find us. The Vintage RPG Podcast is a ham-fisted production. Music by Dega West. Art by Schaefer Brown. If you like the podcast, you should also consider becoming a patron at patreon.com.